Welcome to the Security Speakeasy show, where we talk about all things network security. And today we're talking about critical infrastructure cybersecurity. My name is Del Rudias, Head of Industry Solutions for Energy and Utilities at Palo Alto Networks. And joining me today is our expert industrial cybersecurity architect, Lionel Jacobs. How are you doing today, Lionel?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Del. Good to see you as always.
Excellent, excellent. So I'll start by saying the obvious. 2021 was another watershed year for critical infrastructure security with things like the Colonial Pipeline attack, JBS, the meat supplier, and the Florida water utility attack. And of course, the regulations that have come up from the likes of Homeland Security, really all these things kind of make 2021 quite memorable for me. And we kind of look at how ransomware is even getting more concerning with not only the multi-million-dollar ransoms that are being requested, but the impact that can be caused on operational downtime. Seems like the bar in this cat and mouse game just keeps getting raised. So first question for you, Lionel, is what was your assessment for 2021 in terms of critical infrastructure cyber?
No, great question, Del. My assessment has been the same from day one. It hasn't changed because of 2021. What I'm happy to see is now that the government and private industries are actually starting to take this seriously, especially when we get into pipeline operations, because for the 20 years that I worked in there was always a don't ask, don't tell. And there was no consequence for not reporting. So,
right.
It's a mixed blessing. Now that they have to report, I think it's going to get better. And the view or the understanding that these systems are in jeopardy and the impact that they have to society as a whole, I think it's great that everyone is starting to acknowledge the fact that we have a problem.
And, the thing that comes to mind for me is how far will the regulatory landscape go in terms of, creating rules for different industries? We've seen these type of lockdowns on the regulations and rules in the electric utility sector with NERC-CIP. And seems like it's a security directive today for pipelines, but where's that going to go? Is that going to be a law, and how will this trickle into other industries that are in the energy sector or critical infrastructure sector? What's kind of your feel for the regulatory landscape that's going to change with all of these happenings?
No, that's great insight. And for years, when I operated in that environment, it was always on the back of everyone's mind that, sooner or later, they're going to treat us like NERC-CIP. We're going to get fined for things that don't happen. The whole idea of it's voluntary was great under the mindset that you're going to do more for your company. Whereas if you just had a regulation, it was a checkbox and you're going to do the minimum. But it's obvious that a lot of people aren't even doing the minimum and there's no accountability. So yeah, I definitely think it's going to get to the point where there's going to be serious fines levied against companies that don't do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. In these sectors that involve, energy, utilities, water and electric and gas, transportation, just the risk profile is so high. And thinking about the different types of risks, you got your strategic risk, operational, financial, reputational, right? There's just really high stakes when it comes to critical infrastructure protection. But things are changing from a lot of people's standpoints in terms of what kind of new risks might be taken on as organizations go through this transformation journey. And not trying to age you, but you've been in technology for a long time, several decades now. So what's your take on what this transformation journey looks like for critical infrastructure operators, and more importantly to what I just said is what are the new risk profiles or risks that have appeared as a result of this new type of transformation?
Yeah, no, another great question. And I'm okay with people knowing my age. I've worked in the industry 25 years, and at 52 years old, I'm still considered a baby in the sectors of industrial control. So there's guys out there that are much older than me, much wiser, done a lot. And so It's great. I'm excited. I'm happy to see it changing. I'm concerned at the same time because distributed energy and other resources that are being brought in to actually make the customer experience better, to help decarbonize and bring up resiliency and actually give people more control over how they consume energy and take responsibility and accountability is great. But it also means that we're more interconnected digitally. And it only takes one person not doing what they need to do to put us all at risk or increase that risk. So these are exciting times. I think a lot of great innovations are going to happen. A lot of things are going to happen. It's a great time to be working in this sector. But the risk is definitely going to go up because of technology that's being applied. So definitely an exciting time. Definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, great point. I think it's trying to find that balance of increasing your efficiency and reliability, and while managing that cyber risk is something a lot of organizations will need to figure out. A lot of times, what we like to say is when you embark on your digital transformation journey, you need to make sure that cybersecurity is coupled in unison with that plan, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So another question for you, probably something that we're going to be hitting on multiple times, potentially in other sessions like this, is around zero trust, right? It's a pretty loaded, subject, and I think it's been either underrepresented or misrepresented by many other organizations out there. It's just not well understood. And I often get this question, hey, Del, is zero trust relevant to critical infrastructure? And how does it actually help in terms of making my critical infrastructure more secure? I firmly believe that it's not only relevant, but is essential in managing the risk in critical infrastructure and OT, operational technology. And it's not just for IT. So knowing that we don't have much time to get into it at this point, but for you, and I know you've been an operator for many years and have applied these concepts, what kind of outcomes can people expect? Before that, what is the relevance of zero trust, and kind of how does it relate to other OT industry security standards, and what kind of outcomes can people expect? What's your view on that?
Yeah, no, another great question. And my view on that, I think zero trust is an incredible tool. It needs to be in everyone's toolbox. It needs to be done correctly, and they need to have that understanding of what it is. But zero trust is very powerful, especially in the OT environment. It's going to allow people to consume new technologies. It's going to allow them to go in and retrofit their old facilities or brownfield in such a way that they're going to be able to consume new technologies. They're going to be able to actually do incident response, remediations, and things of that nature on these older systems till we completely migrate over to newer technologies. So to me, I think zero trust is a must. Even if you just do the basic tenets, you're going to have a more secure environment because it's first and foremost, it is a flow-based architecture, and you have to know what's moving through that network in order to protect the network. And the biggest problem that we have both in IT and OT is a lot of times we don't know what's moving through the network, so we can't protect the network. And especially when we start getting into encrypted data, that's going to be a big problem if we don't put the right technologies in place to protect those critical assets and even the non-critical assets. When we get into OT, the belief is anything that touches the critical asset in and of itself becomes critical because it's a jump off point to that device. So yeah, zero trust is going to be a must.
Excellent. And I think one of the areas that we're going to be exploring in the future is just kind of how to operationalize this. I think a lot of people may understand the concepts, but the harder part oftentimes is how do you actually manifest these ideas into actual operations. So look forward to speaking you on that as well in the future, Lionel. Yeah. So great. Thank you, Lionel. As usual, it's been a pleasure. And thank you, audience, for watching. If you like the show, please make sure to click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And more information is available at paloaltonetworks.com to help you learn how we protect critical infrastructure.